So relocation buyers are different from traditional buyers mainly for one reason, and that's geographical area. So Connecticut's a pretty small state, pretty much an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes you could get from one end of the state to the other. So people who live in Connecticut who are moving to a different town either for job or family reasons, they already have a good sense for the communities that they're looking to move to. But relocation buyers don't have that luxury. There's so much you could search online, and you could join different town Facebook groups and get a sense of community. But when you're moving from out of state, for instance, I just had a client move from Utah out to Connecticut, and it's hard for them because they don't get a true sense for the community until they get here. So one of the things that I do for my clients and how I shape the way that I work with them is through video. So on my YouTube channel, I'll have different community videos. I'll have driving tours of different neighborhoods and so forth. But what I do for my clients is once we have that initial phone conversation, so I could get a sense for what type of housing they need, that's only a small part of it. Then we have a conversation about what types of activities they enjoy, what their social life is like, what their hobbies and family activities are. So, for instance, the family that moved from Utah, they were big into outdoor activities. So, I really focus videos for them, of course, about the different communities, but also based on the different outdoor activities that liked, the different hiking trails and biking trails. And I did a video on the different beaches in the area for them. Stuff that I think is important because when you're moving here, the next question that often asked are what are the biggest fears and concerns of relocation buyers? So the biggest concern that I see people asking about, it's not really the housing. The housing is the housing. It's whatever is available in a certain price point in a certain month and year. That's really the housing. But the culture of where you're moving for a relocation buyer is the biggest concern. So their concern is, are we going to fit in? Are we going to like Connecticut once we move here? And I've had people who have come out here who've interviewed for different jobs who don't like Connecticut. One woman from Colorado said, just driving around, I gave her a 3 hour tour of the state, basically New Haven County, where she was looking. And at the end, she's like, it may sound crazy, but I don't like the area because I almost feel car sick. Driving around, through downtown New Haven or West Haven or even Hamden, all you see is buildings. And she's like, I'm not used to that. We're out in Colorado, where I'm from. You drive through this massive expanse and you see mountains in the background, but you don't see as many buildings and trees. And, it's kind of like even out in the suburbs, you're driving through the forest because both sides of the road, all you see are trees after tree. So that's the type of fear that I see a lot of relocation buyers have is, are we going to like the area? And that's a really valid concern. So if you don't have the luxury of moving here into a temporary housing situation, into a rental for a few months, you really need to get a good sense of that community feel. And that's one of the things I bring to the table, I think, is helping people get that sense of community and get that sense of if they're going to like the area or not. How do I guide buyers who are unfamiliar with the area and making smart decisions about neighborhood schools and commute times? Well, again, the commute time's kind of easy because, again, if you're doing your home search remotely, if you're living out of state and you're doing your home search here, let me be that tool for you of getting you all the information about drive time. So, for instance, if you know you're going to be working at Yale and we're in New Haven, you're going to be working, when you're looking at houses, I could actually look at what the drive time is. And when I say look at, I could literally drive that drive time commute for you. So if you know you're leaving, 3:30 in the afternoon from downtown New Haven getting home, I could do that drive for you and tell you and show you what the traffic patterns are like. And you'll know that if you're going from downtown New Haven up to Middletown, there's a couple different areas on that drive that you're going to hit traffic. You're going to hit traffic getting to the 91, 95 interchange. You're going to hit more traffic up near 91 in Middletown. So getting that sense from a local, because again, if you're not here, that's going to be a difficult bridge to navigate. But let me be that vessel for you and get you all the information that you need. Um, What other things can you do to get information on schools and neighborhoods? Look at Facebook. So, most of our towns in Connecticut have different Facebook pages for the communities. So, if you're looking to move to Middletown, join the Middletown Facebook page, and you're going to see a lot of crazy stuff on there. But you'll also get a sense for what are the hot button topics right now. For instance, Middletown, the mayor just resigned, so you'll see a lot of back and forth about what's going on there, and it's kind of crazy. I haven't seen much, and no, this happened a couple weeks ago. And nobody really seems to know. I guess it was personal reasons. He was one of the youngest mayors in the state, and 2 years into his term, he just resigned. No real, backlash of what happened if he did something wrong. He didn't feel like doing it again. So you'll get a sense by joining the different Facebook groups of what's going on in the towns that you want to move to. So when you go to join those pages, you have to live in the town or have lived in the town to join, but you just put in the question that they ask you looking to move to the area. So they'll let you join, they'll let you ask questions, navigate things, and that's really, in my opinion, if you don't have boots on the ground here, that's really the best way that you could navigate what towns are going to be the best fit for you. Look at different restaurant reviews online. Look at different cultural things that you want to do. Same thing with schools. Search there's a lot of school ratings. Take those kind of lightly, only because look at how they compare to local schools next to each other. But a lot of those school ratings aren't exactly accurate, and they don't paint a great picture of the local schools. So again, look at comparing two schools to each other, but don't like have your heart set if one school says it's a B, it might be a great school, and the ratings are just skewed. What system tools do you use to make the home buying process smooth for people who can't be there in person? That's simple. Video. Video is the best way to really get a good sense of what's going on in the area. So even when I do home tours for people, a video for a relocation buyer is different than a video for a marketing piece. So marketing one of my listings, I'm going to show you all the great things about the house. Of course, I'm not going to show you any of the blemishes or flaws because I want you to be interested in the house. But if you're my client and you're relocating here from out of state, a lot of my clients actually don't step foot in the house that they're buying until they buy it. So I want to make sure that the videos that I produce for my clients, they're raw. They are literally me walking handheld with my phone, walking down the hallway of a house, showing you exactly what I see. If there's something that I think looks weird about the house, I'm going to zoom in on that feature. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think is wrong with it. And it might not be, it might be perfect. And I'm sure I have kind of swayed some clients' opinion of different properties based on what I think might be a big deal versus what they think is a big deal. But again, if you're moving 2,000 miles to Connecticut, I don't want your experience to be poor because I overlooked something that may or may not have been a big deal. I have a lot of experience both in real estate and construction, so I tend to have a good idea of what's a big issue and what's really kind of not a big issue. And what I do for my clients by no means replaces a home inspection, but this is kind of the first line of defense. I don't want you either moving into the wrong house or wasting money on a home inspection unnecessarily because I don't show off the blemishes of a house that you're interested in. So that's the biggest tool of just video and being total transparency and honesty in what my opinion of a house is. You might disagree, you might think it's the best thing in the world, but if I don't show you why I think there might be issues later, then I'm really not doing my job. What is a challenging relocation client experience, and how was I able to turn that into a success? So actually, my latest relocation buyer, they were moving from Texas. They moved to Connecticut, and they had a short time frame. They sold their house in Texas. They had a 30-day rent back scenario where they were renting the home back because the new owner wasn't moving in right away. But they only had 30 days basically they had 45 days from the time that they first spoke with me to the time they had their house on the market, had it under contract, and closed. So in that 45 days, it took a couple weeks for them to get organized, get the house on the market. It sold instantly, and it was closing in 30 days. So they had the opportunity to rent back for an additional 30 days, but they didn't really want to do that. They were moving out here and their grandkids and such, and they wanted to be here. So once they got their house under contract, there was a house that they really thought they would love that came on the market. So again, it came on the market. Showing started on Friday. I got in there. I was one of the first people in the house at 9 o'clock on Friday morning. I got a great video for them, again, pointing out all the blemishes, but it was something that they thought that they would really like. So the husband, as soon as I sent him the video, they said, yeah, thumbs up. We really like this house, but they wanted to see in person. So the husband actually got on a flight Friday night, got here late Friday night, and I met them out here on Saturday morning to take the husband on a tour of the house. So they, again, brought his daughter and son-in-law. Everybody gave the house a thumbs up. We put a really, really strong offer in. Phenomenal offer, I thought. Cash offer, as is. We were golden. But we got outbid, and somebody else got the house. So, again, he flew back home. While he was on the flight home, another house came on the market. So they weren't going to come out here again the next day to take another look at the house. So I met the son-in-law at the house. We took a look at the house, got video of it. We each got video this time, so kind of giving different perspectives. And again, they put an offer on the house. This time they got it under contract. And at this point in time, they had closed on their old house, or were closing on it. So from the time that they closed on the old house, they didn't want to rent back at that point. They immediately got in a moving truck and started driving to Connecticut. So we had just gotten the house under contract. They opted to do an inspection on this house because it was built in the 1800s and there were some funky things. They literally got the moving truck into Connecticut to the house they were going to buy as the inspection was finishing. So the inspector was actually able to take them around the house, show them the things that came up, got everybody comfortable with everything. And then we had a waiting period. So we had like 2 or 3 weeks before they closed on this new house and could move in. So what they did was they put their moving truck, everything they had, in storage, and since they'd never been to Connecticut, let alone New England, they went on a traveling tour of New England. They got a couple Airbnbs for a couple weeks, traveled out throughout the Northeast, and got acclimated with where they were moving to. And I thought that was the greatest thing in the world. Unfortunately, they closed the Monday after Mother's Day. So Mother's Day, they went out to a restaurant and ended up getting food poisoning. So luckily, they called me on Monday morning, sick as could be, and said, we have to do the walkthrough. They had seen the house now at this point because they got here, like I said, with the moving truck during the home inspection. But I met them in the lobby of the hotel they stayed at that night. I got the rest of the money that they were supposed to bring to the attorney, and I was able to get in there, do the walkthrough, and get them closed on the house. Luckily, they didn't have to sign anything, being a cash deal. They did everything remotely. So that's kind of where we're at. And it was a challenging situation, but remotely, we made it all work. So these are some of the pitfalls that relocation homebuyers come up with. So if you have any other specific questions, feel free to reach out. All my contact info is below. But give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and you'll get other videos that I do like this of answering relocation buyer questions. So this channel is primarily for relocation buyers looking to move Connecticut. So let my 21 years of experience kind of guide you through the process. And even if you don't use me on the purchase, although you should, this is a resource for you to help you learn how to move to Connecticut.